Hey YouTube, this is City Prepping. In this video, we're going to take a look at the new Ecoflow Delta 1300 solar generator. This is a product that's been on Kickstarter for a little while. They've actually raised $2.1 million at the time of the recording of this video. I really enjoy doing reviews on these type of products. I think they're so practical for emergency preparedness. Having a source of power that can be charged off something like a solar panel that gives you, in a sense, an unlimited source of power as long as you've got the sun. And one of the things I really love about these is, again, compared to something like a gas generator, they're quiet, they don't produce fumes, and again, you have essentially an infinite source of power. So what we're going to do in this video is we're going to take a look at the technical specs. We're going to actually use this on different devices to see how it performs under certain types of loads. What I'll do is also look at other competitors on the market and how this one actually stacks up. And we'll talk about actual use cases in a true grid down situation if there's an emergency. Why is something like this so advantageous? So stick around. First of all, let's start off with the price point. $899. They're doing it on Kickstarter for a limited time for the next, I believe, 2 weeks from the time they're recording this video. So if you're interested in getting a product at quite a good price, definitely a good time to pick one up. So the charge time on this particular unit, you can go from 0 to 80% in 1 hour. Now, when I first got it and it came to my house, and I'll show you, by the way, the plug-in here on the side. Let me flip it around. Hopefully that stays within camera view. You've got these plug-ins here. Let me just reposition a little. You see you've got extreme charger, the solar charger, then overload protection. If it does overload, you can just reset it. Now, as far as the solar charge, you can use up to 400 watts of solar panels. So the particular unit, the particular solar panel that they sent me was 88 watts, I believe. So you can go up to 400 in total. You can also use a car charger. Let me get one of those to show you here real quick. Sorry, here we go. You can also use a charger, plug it into your vehicle, and then you can plug it into the side where the solar typically goes, and you can charge this up pretty quickly. They send you this. Again, you can plug it into the charger. All right, so the overall weight on this particular unit is 30 pounds. At the top here, you got two 12-watt USB-As. On the top right, you've got two 28-watt fast charge. And then you've got right here the USB-C. These are two 60-watt USB-C chargers right here. Okay, so up here on the screen, again, you've got the charge time, remaining charge time, battery level indicators. You can see it's at 100%. Current input, we don't have it plugged into anything, so it's not showing anything. And then the output is right here. So whatever you're putting in and drawing, we'll do some actual testing here in a second. Okay, on the back, you've got 6 AC outlets. They do offer international outlets for those outside the United States. So this is for the US right here. You've got the AC on off. And that's a really great feature because if you don't want to use these and you just want to use, like charge small things like your electronics, cell phone, and other stuff, you don't have to turn this on. And again, right here, you've got the car outlet. Okay, for this part of the video, instead of saying, hey, let's look at all the things that it can charge, like cell phones, things that that it obviously can charge. Let's look at some things that really have a high amount of draw that will really, in a sense, test this out. So what I've got right here is a hairdryer. And the specs on the side say 1875 watts. According to their website, it can go a surge up to 3,300 watts and continuous at 1,800 watts. So this is about 75 watts over the continuous. Okay. So let's see, we got different settings. Yeah, that's hot right there. There we go. I'm going to put it up on the maximum setting here. All right, as you can see, it's pulling in, or rather the output at 1340, 57 hours, still at 100%. It's handling it like a champ, I'll have to say that. I'll bring this over a little closer here. I'm just going to turn it off because obviously it's handling it no problem. We're only at 1400 watts output, and this device can actually go 1800 watts continuous, but had no issue. You can already hear the fan kicking down on that. I know what people are going to say in the comment section, why would you use a hairdryer in an emergency? I'm not saying you would use a hairdryer. I just wanted to point out that something that has a really high draw, this thing can handle it pretty much without issue. we're going to take a look at using something like a space heater. Again, space heaters are a super inefficient way of using electricity. In an emergency, I would not recommend using this because it's just going to eat up power so quick. You should have something like a Mr. Heater. But hey, I just want to see what it could do. Same thing, let's see. This one is rated at, here we go, 1500 watts. See if I can get that to focus in. 1500 watts right there. Where is it? So let's see what it does when we actually turn it on here. Okay, so we're pushing 15, I'm not sure if you can see that up close, but we're pushing 1573 watts. It says 47 minutes. So as you can see, it's holding. It's definitely handling the output on that. We're pushing output of 1370. It's definitely giving off a lot of heat. So now what I'd like to see is if it can handle an air condition on my RV. Let's go over there and test that out. Okay, for this test, I want to see if it could power the air condition on the RV. So what I've done here is I've gone ahead and plugged this into the RV. Let's go ahead and power it on. Okay, so now the power is plugged, or rather running, and as you can hear it humming, the fans are actually kicked on. So let's run it around real quick. All right, fingers crossed. Let's see, we got it turned over to cold. And okay, that's low fan. Low fan. Oops, what was that? Low fan. Low fan. High fan. Okay, here's a moment of truth. Let's kick it over. Oh, it didn't like that. I can hear it beeping outside. All right, let's see here. Let's see what happened. Let's go. Does it reset? No, no reset. Okay. It just turns off. Interesting. Okay. Now, another thing to point out, though, is that cord that is right there. It's not designed to run an air conditioner. This is actually the what we have right here is a 15 amp cord, but the RV hookup is a 30 amp. So we're kind of not really supposed to be plugging it in. I think really the issue here is that it's just drawing too many amps. I believe this device is a 10 amp, and that cord that you see right there for the RV is a 30 amp. So I don't know. I thought I'd just try it anyway. Anyway, at least you get an idea of what it will do. I know a lot of people are going to always ask me, can it do this? Can it do that? Yeah, I mean, overall, I would really say it's a pretty powerful device, obviously based on what uses you have. You're not trying to run an air conditioner in a grid down situation off something like this. So really you have to know the limitation of what this device is for, what it's rated for, and what it's not. It's just not going to power something this big. And again, it's just a mismatch of amperage, I think, really is the issue. In this part of the video, what we'll do is we'll talk about the advantages that a solar generator gives you in a grid down situation. We'll also go into a little discussion on this device compared to something like a gas generator. And by the way, I'll post a link in the cards up above to a video that I did where I compare solar generators versus gas generators. There's pros and cons of both systems. I'm not going to say one is better than the other, but well, maybe I am. I'm kind of partial to solar generators, and I'll go into the reasons. The first reason, one of the things I really love, is the issue when you look at OPSEC. OPSEC stands for Operational Security. Essentially, what you're discussing is making sure that your information is kept private in relation to your resources. What do I mean by that? In a grid down situation or a prolonged period of time where there's not power that comes back up, people are going to get desperate for resources. If your generator is the one that's running in a neighborhood, people can either hear it or smell it. Guess who everybody's going to be looking at for resources? You. So one of the things I love is the fact that as long as you got this hooked up to solar panels, it's discreetly, for example, put in your backyard where no one can see it. It doesn't produce fumes or noise. You're going to be able to power this off the sun and power the critical devices that you need to operate. Now, the second thing I like is the fact that it has the ability to essentially run as long as you've got a source of power, which in this case is the sun. With gasoline or propane generators, once your fuel source is gone, that's it. Obviously, you can store a good amount of gas or propane in a garage, but let's be realistic. If you live in a suburban environment, there's only so much that you're going to be able to store without it becoming a safety issue. So with this one, I like the concept of what I deem as an infinite source of power. And by infinite, you can run this, obviously, with pass-through power. So let's just say this situation goes on and we, over time. This has, I think it can do 800 cycles or charge cycles. So let's say we go past that point and it's not really holding much power anymore. Well, as long as you got the sun, you can still get pass-through power in that moment and power those devices. So to me, something like this is what I would really qualify as an infinite source of power. Now, the thing I also like, the third issue, when it comes to maintenance, you don't have to deal with maintenance on these. I own a couple of gas generators, and you got to stay on top of them, changing out the oil, making sure the filter and other things are properly up to date, because in the moment, if you need it and you haven't been maintaining it, you're going to have some problems. The fourth item, really, when you look at cost, typically I would say, well, solar generators cost a lot more upfront, gas generators, not so much. But again, at this new price point with the Kickstarter campaign, with this being at $900, something like an EU 2000i, or what is it, the Honda EU 2000i, those come in at a little over $1,000. So obviously this is cheaper. But I will point out, and I know a lot of people are going to light me up in the comment section about this. Yeah, the Honda EU, you're going to be able to power a lot. On-demand power, night or day, not having to worry about sun or shine, the sun not being around. And I was camping out this last weekend, and it was great having that Honda generator. There was a lot of things I was trying to power, and something like this wouldn't have been able to power it. And I was running a space heater in my RV. Now, obviously, if you look at a grid down situation, you're going to have to make some decisions. You're going to have to budget and ration your power usage. But if you can do that, something like this would be great. But if you're somebody that's like, I need a lot of power for various things, and I need it on demand at all times, a gas generator is going to make more sense in that moment, for sure. But as we loop back to issue number 1 and 2, when you look at OPSEC and how much fuel you can, long-term keep, available, again, I think a solar generator, something like this, that's mobile, you can grab it, it's something you can pack. I don't know. I just see the clear advantages. Again, it all will come down to demand and how much you think you are really going to need. But again, long-term situation, this is definitely an item I want. So let's take a look at 3 different solar generators with the Delta on the right, the Energy Apex, which I've reviewed many times, in the middle, and then the Go Yeti 1400 on the left. These are, again, popular options on the market. So what we'll do is we'll start with weight. Again, going from right to left, for the Delta is 30 pounds, the Apex is 25 pounds, and the Yeti is at 44 pounds. So for weight, the Apex is the lightest of the 3 options. So let's look at charge time if you're plugged into a wall socket. On the right, we have the Delta at 1.7 hours, the Apex at 3 hours, and then the Yeti at 25 hours. So the clear winner on that one is the Delta. All right, let's look at the maximum solar input that you can put with solar panels. Again, starting from the right with the Delta, we're at 400 watts, the Apex at 500 watts, and the Yeti at 360 watts. The Apex wins at that one with 500 watts. And let's look at expandability. Expandability meaning that you can add additional battery packs to it. As far as I know, I haven't heard anything else, but the Delta, that is not an option currently. The Apex you can, and the Yeti you cannot. As far as charge cycles, how many times you can charge it, again, starting from right to left, you have 800 charge cycles on the Delta, 2000 on the Apex, and then 500 on the Yeti. As far as the battery size goes, you've got 1300 watt hours for the Delta. And watt hours are simply how many watts will it produce in 1 hour. So if you were to run it just continuously for 1 hour, again, the Delta would be 1300, the Apex 1100, and then the Yeti at 1425. So as far as battery size, the Yeti is the biggest of the 3. Output, again, starting right to left with the Delta, you've got 1800 continuous, a 3300 surge. Apex is at 1500 with a 3000 surge. The Yeti is at 1500 continuous with a 3000 surge. So the Delta wins on that one. Now this is where it really separates out. The price on the Delta at the moment is at $900 in Kickstarter. The Energy Apex, they've actually dropped the price down. With the coupon code City Prepping, you can get it at $1185, and then the Yeti is the highest at $1800. So hopefully that kind of gives you an idea. There are a lot of things that are really kind of similar, that are different. Again, the price point is a clear winner with the Delta. You're going to be hard-pressed to beat that during the Kickstarter campaign they're doing right now. But they each have their own kind of, subtle nuances, subtle differences. nothing radically different. But again, hopefully that kind of gives you an idea if you're comparing these 3 different options. Hopefully this video will give you enough information to help you decide whether this is a good product for you or not. I always enjoy reviewing these types of products because, again, from an emergency preparedness prepping perspective, I just like having some kind of device that can power critical electrical devices that has a renewable source of power. Again, in this case, obviously being the sun with solar panels. And I just think at this particular price point, at the time of the recording this video on Kickstarter, it's $899. That's a heck of a deal for what you get. There's a lot of other products on the market with similar specs that are priced a lot higher. So it's a good time if you're interested in getting one of these, I think, to pick it up now. So if you have any comments or feedback or questions, post those in the comment section below. As I always enjoy hearing from the community, getting your thoughts or questions. If you enjoy the video, click on the like button, share on social media, and as always, be safe out there. Stand right here.
The end.
Wait, okay. Say it again.
The end.
The end?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Go like this, Mama.
The end. The end.